If Turkey launches an invasion of Syria, one of the important questions we're going to have to ask is how will the Kurdish people respond, the Kurdish Muslims? There is evidence to suggest that Erdogan was achieving some measure of success in trying to build a patchwork solution for his Kurdish problem. But my reading is that if Turkey launches an attack and invades Syria, that rapprochement will fall apart between the Turkish government and the Kurdish parties. And I am hoping that this is what is going to happen, that the Kurdish people will then join the civil war in Turkey, the resultant civil war in Turkey, once Turkey launches an attack on Syria, that the first response would be that the Kurdish people will examine the problem and decide that they want to be on the side of those in the Turkish civil war who are fighting against the government and against NATO. It could be that they do this out of self-interest, that it is in their interest. If they can succeed in that civil war, that Kurdistan will be free. Secondly, it can be a question of integrity, that they recognize that history is moving in this direction, that if they were to join the civil war, that eventually, after the Great War is over, there is the prophecy of Prophet Muhammad, Allah's blessing be upon him, that the Muslim army is going to conquer Constantinople. And they would want to be in that army, which will conquer Constantinople. It will conquer Constantinople to break the back of NATO. And as I've said many times previously, why would a Muslim army move towards Constantinople? Why not towards Jerusalem? What is there that is so important about Constantinople? And there was only one answer, and that is that the Muslim conquest of Constantinople would remove NATO from Constantinople and therefore free the Bosphorus. And as the Bosphorus is free, the Russian Navy would now be free to transit the Bosphorus into the Mediterranean. And that has significant military implications for Israel and for the Western world. The second implication of a Turkish civil war, one side fighting against NATO to liberate Turkey from NATO, and the other side pursuing NATO's agenda in attacking Syria, is that not only the Kurds will intervene on this side of the party, the two sides in the civil war in Turkey, the side which is against NATO, but the whole of North Africa. The whole of North Africa will remember what the Prophet has said. And there'll be large numbers of Muslims of North Africa. Algeria, you can't stop the Algerians. Algeria in particular. And then you have Morocco and you have Tunisia. But large numbers of North Africans will be heading to join that army, that civil war in Turkey. We're going to see the unfolding of events as explained by Islam. It is Islamic eschatology validating itself once Turkey invades Syria.
This might all be because, all the troubles might be because Turkey has refused to invade Syria. If Erdogan refused to do so, it would explain a lot.
It could be, Maurice, that Erdogan has so far refused to invade Syria it is more likely that he was waiting for the green light. He was not prepared to go alone. He was waiting for the green light from Washington. And the black man who is in the White House in Washington has not been prepared to give him the green light, to the dismay of Israel. But if you can keep the fires burning in Turkey long enough, and the Prime Minister finds himself and the ruling party finds themselves in a terrible jam, then they can suggest to them the way out is to look for a diversion. And this is the diversion that we have suggested to you for the longest while, a Turkish ground invasion of Syria.